Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is my review of the newest Gunna album, A Gift and a Curse. So last we heard from Gunna was, what was it, last year, 2022, with DS Forever. And following that, a couple months later, the YSL trials had begun, where the Young Stoner Life whole collective basically got arrested on RICO charges, and basically it's been all over the news. If you haven't seen it already, go read up on it. It's crazy. It's a whole bunch of stuff. But Gunna was one of the first people to be released, and that caused a lot of speculation of him snitching on the other members, and a lot of people say possibly him snitching on Young Thug since he hasn't been released. And with him being the leader of YSL, it has not been looking very good for him. And Gunna stayed silent for quite a bit of time, but here we finally have his return to the limelight with this new album, A Gift and a Curse. Overall, it's not too bad. I don't like it as much as his last couple projects. Maybe it's because there's no features on this entire thing, which, especially for an artist like Gunna, that is bit tough. I would say he carries most of the album fine on his own. He doesn't need a feature on every track, but there are definitely tracks where I'm like, it feels like this artist could go here, or this artist could go here. But he didn't get anyone on. I would assume there's possibly bad blood, all over the place, but not exactly sure either way. He's also lacking a lot of major producers that he was working with before. The only really big producer that he has on this entire project is Turbo, who he had worked with a fair bit before, but even he's not on every track. But the tracks that he is on are typically the better tracks for the most part. Yeah. So we'll start on the good side. There's quite a bit of good tracks on this. The first two songs, Back at It and Back to the Moon, I really like. Those are more acoustic guitar based, much more introspective, which we don't see Gunna do really almost ever. It's very, very seldomly that we get to see him sort of, look in the mirror and really say anything. Most of his stuff is sexual based or money based, or typical trap lyrics. It's pretty much it. I mean, it's really nothing crazy that we get to hear from him, but he does always have a smooth flow. But these first two songs, I think he really does good on. Like the beats, I really like the introspectiveness that he does on him, with his absence and the whole trials and everything. Not that he's getting like super lyrical, like his pen isn't the sharpest, but for him, it's definitely a step up, and I really like that. I really like the song Fuck You Mean. I know that's been a really big track coming from this project, especially with the sample. Yeah, I would say that's like the shining part of that, and that's like the main reason I listen to it is for the sample. Gunna does slide really nicely on the track, and the production is fairly nice, but it is mostly that sample, I think, that carries the entire song. Bread and Butter, the single to this album, I believe it was the only single, is really good. Again, it's him getting more introspective, bit of a laid back instrumental on it. Yeah, it's a good one. Like I said, his pen game's not the sharpest. It's not like there's a ton to really look into, and like it's not hard. It's pretty surface level stuff, very easy to understand. There's really not much to dive into. I mean, anyone could listen, and on their first try, their first listen through, you'll get it. You'll understand what he's talking about. Really, nothing crazy going on here. It's good, and for him, it's a nice change, but like I said, there's really not much I feel like that I can really go into, because it's just like I'll say, a line, and him saying he's not a snitch. Okay, what else is there to say about that? Cat Shit is another fairly decent track. It's not like an all-time great of Gunna's, but I do really like his flow on that. I think the beat's fair, but it's mostly his flow. I think he flows really nice on that. And Bottom, um, it's I mean, pretty typical lyrics for him, but I do like how cinematic the song is. I think that Bottom is a very cinematic song in the sense of I almost feel like this could have been in like a movie or a movie trailer in some way. Um, yeah, I like that. P Angels, I would say, is the last like really good song. The only thing is like there's this like smoke detector sound throughout the beat. It's not like super often, but it happens a couple of times. And at first, when I was listening to it, I heard it once, and I was like, I don't think I heard that right. Like that's I don't know, that has to be something that's like near me that made that noise. And then I was just listening to it a couple times, and I'm like, nope, that's in the song. That's a strange thing to have caught. It's like not sure if that's intentional. That like it seriously just sounds like a smoke detector. It's a very high pitched beeping noise. So I'm not sure if they put that in intentionally, what they were thinking, or if that was just caught on the microphone while Gunna was rapping. I don't know if at this point was in a professional studio. That makes me think he wasn't. This is like a home studio situation, but yeah, that can be kind of annoying. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's the worst, but it only happens like 3 or 4 times, and it's spread out, so it's not that bad. But yeah, that's it for, I would say, like the really good tracks. Besides the tracks I'm about to talk to, everything else is pretty decent, not horrible. Like it's not a song I'm like, oh, it's a must skip, but it's definitely not one I'm going to actively be putting on. I would say those couple of songs I just said are the ones that I would actually go and look back on and like add to playlists and look forward to playing again, especially Fuck You Mean. I would say that one and Back to the Moon and maybe P Angels, I would say, are the maybe 3 that I would look forward going back to the most. Payback, though, I feel like this is like a super drowsy just flow and beat. I feel like everything about it's very sleepy, very just plain. I don't know, it feels like Gunna is like actively trying to put me to sleep with this song. I just don't really get this one. I saw a couple people on Twitter saying that they like this one a lot. Really not sure why. Same thing with I Don't Know No More. Yeah, that's how I feel. Really nothing exciting. Very basic. This feels like you just gave a microphone to someone who just started rapping, and you're like, yeah, that's not bad, but like, you're really not doing anything. Like, nothing new, nothing exciting. That's how it feels. I mean, someone at this point of Gunna's stature and his experience level should be putting out a lot better stuff than this. But, what are you going to do? I was just thinking is like the same thing. Just nothing new. Very boring. The beat is not great, again, for this song. I think a lot of this is him not getting any of the past producers. I'm not sure if there's bad blood or what it is, but I mean, he should have just had Turbo on the entire album. I'm not sure if he didn't because the beats that Turbo was on were leftovers from his past couple albums or what, or if he actually made these beats for this specific album. But at this point, he should have just had him executive produce the entire thing, because I think it would have brought up the quality and maybe brought some better performances out of Gunna. Because I mean, you have Payback, I Don't Know No More, I Was Just Thinking, and Born Rich, and these songs are all basically the same thing. It's just very drowsy, very boring, really sleepy. His flow is recycled. It's absolutely nothing new, and there's really nothing to talk about with them. I mean, they're just boring, and that really sucks. It's better, I feel like, to have a song that's just really bad and hard to listen to than a song that is just straight boring. Because when it's boring, there's just nothing to say. It's just there's nothing there, no substance. But when you have a really bad track, at least there's something to talk about. You can talk about how horrible the instrumental is or how bad the vocals are. This is just nothing. It's what I feel listening to these ones. It's just nothing there. I mean, a lot of the similar lines. I mean, it's just the flexing of the money and him saying he's on top despite his absence, and you know, it's just the same stuff over and over again. And you know what? Whatever. It's not too bad. I mean, going into a Gunna album, I don't expect much, but I do expect more than what he brought to these tracks. Yeah, like I said, the other tracks I didn't list they're good. There's just nothing great. Overall, I'd say it's a fairly decent album. It's only those real 4 tracks that I think bring the album down. Unfortunately, it brings it down a fair bit for me. But yeah, I think it's a decent comeback for him. I would have liked to see, I mean, if he just had a more condensed album, I think that would have been nicer. He only did 15 tracks here, which is shorter than some people are doing. I mean, you have Lil Baby doing 23 tracks, which isn't much more, but still, it's a hell of a lot more in this. And it, you know, at least he toned it down, and I feel like kept it to a concise number of tracks that he felt he could do on his own without it getting too boring. But I think he should have trimmed it down to like maybe 10, and that would have been good. You would have had like 6 or 7 really good tracks, and even maybe a couple just decent. You know, just trim the fat on this, and it would have been spectacular. But yeah, that's the album. I would give this one about a 62%. Not sure where Gunna's going to go from here. I mean, I hope to see him work again with a bunch of the big names, because I think he fits really well and he has good chemistry with a lot of people. But after this whole YSL trial thing, I'm really not sure how it's going to go. He was absent on Young Thug's album, which I'll be talking about soon as well. But yeah, hopefully he gets back to working with people. Yeah, 62%. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Please subscribe. Bye now.